Coming up, President Trump may be in hot water as the impeachment inquiry gathers steam. And later, Spotify celebrates the end of 2019 with its listeners.
Wrestling and men's hoop hit the road. I've got the breakdown coming right up.
Will we be experiencing harsh winter weather conditions this weekend? Stay tuned to find out.
All that and more coming up on this Friday morning edition of DITV News. Don't go anywhere. DITV News starts right now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm John Chenoweth. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi announced the House Judiciary Committee will draft the official articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump and the next steps for the impeachment hearing.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
In response, Trump takes to Twitter to challenge, quote, "If you're going to impeach me, do it now, fast, so we can have a fair trial in the Senate," end quote. Trump and his administration shift their focus to the Republican-led Senate. If the impeachment proceedings choose to continue to trial, the Trump administration plans to turn the discussion of corruption to the Democrats. The House Judiciary Committee is set to meet this Monday for the next impeachment hearings, when members will go over evidence from congressional staff counsels. 2019 is coming to a close, and Spotify wanted to send the decade out with a bang. DITV News Director Emily Callahan decided to see what students thought of Spotify wrapping up in 2019.
As the year and the decade both come to a close, the music streaming service Spotify has given its users each an individual musical zeitgeist. Spotify reminded users of their favorite songs and artists from the past year, as well as from the entire decade. Students felt like Spotify got them figured out pretty easily in terms of taste.
I think it's quite accurate to each personality. I mean, I looked at mine and I think it represents my choice of music over the years.
I mean, I think maybe I overlooked a couple songs, but overall they got me. It was pretty accurate.
And on social media and campus alike, everyone agrees Wrapped is a fun way to look back on the years.
I really enjoy it. I like looking back on what I was listening to.
I thought it was really cool that I was able to look back on the music that I've listened to in the last couple of years and this year and be like, oh, okay, I see what I've been vibing with.
Well, I guess that's a wrap. Reporting from the University of Iowa, Emily Callahan, DITV News.
It has been cold lately, and honestly, as we get farther into December, it's probably not going to let up. Hopefully, Asha in the weather studio can give us some good news, but we'll see. Asha?
This morning, we will have some partial cloud coverage with a temperature of 31 degrees. This will continue until roughly 10 a.m. when the sun will finally come out to play. The high for today is at 38 degrees, while the low sets at a chilling 22 degrees. As night falls, we will be experiencing freezing temperatures in the upper 20s. This weekend, we will begin to see some warmer temperatures as Saturday's high is 44 and Sunday's is 51. However, don't get too used to the heat as Monday's forecast calls for snow. On Tuesday, we can expect the temperature to drop into the lower 20s and it will remain quite chilly for the majority of the week. So Hawkeyes, make sure to enjoy this nice weather this weekend before it's gone. John, back to you.
A shooting occurred at the Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard on Wednesday, killing 2 and hospitalizing 1. The shooter was identified as 22-year-old G. Romero. Romero used his M4 service rifle to open fire on the shipyard personnel before turning his M9 service pistol on himself. The shooting occurred at 2:30 p.m. local time, just 3 days before National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. The shooter's motive is still unknown. University of Iowa President Bruce Harold announced yesterday that Lauren McLaren will become interim vice president for student life following the departure of Melissa Shivers. McLaren, who has been involved in student life since 1981, currently serves as the senior advisor to the president of the university, as well as associate vice president for external relations. She will assume the interim position January 1st. Interviews to fill this position permanently will begin in February of next year, and a permanent vice president is expected to be appointed in the spring semester. Harold is excited to fill this position, saying in an earlier interview he had hoped to fill the role in the fall of 2019, stating, quote, "We cannot lose the momentum built over the past several years of the areas of diversity, equity and inclusion, mental health, fraternity and sorority life, and on-campus housing, to name a few," end quote. President Bruce Harreld also stated he was enthusiastic about Lauren being appointed to this position, saying her background in student life makes her uniquely qualified to fill this position until a permanent leader is named. In sports today, we're going to be taking a look at basketball and wrestling. Let's toss it over to Cade in the sports studio.
That's right, John. And while football might be done until bowl season, the Hawkeye wrestling team has a lot to say after earning the top ranking last week. The Hawkeyes hosted 6th-ranked Wisconsin and made pretty light work of them, winning 32-3. That victory kept the Hawkeyes at the top spot, and now they head all the way to Princeton, New Jersey to take on the 12th-ranked Tigers. But the fact of the matter is, this one shouldn't be too hard. There's only 2 marquee matchups for this duel. Starting at 125, not Spencer Lee, but Aaron Cashman, who hasn't seen much action with Iowa, will face off with 4th-ranked Patrick Glory. The other is at 197, where Jacob Warner, ranked 3rd, will square off with Patrick Bruckey of the Tigers. Don't expect a Princeton upset. 7 out of the 10 Hawkeyes in the starting lineup are ranked in the top 5, and 6 of those 7 are in the top 3. Keep your eyes peeled for a potential Hawkeye shutout. And staying on the mat, there has been some tough news out of the Hawkeye wrestling world. Former 4-time All-American Brandon Sorensen has been diagnosed with leukemia while training for the 2020 Olympics. In order to offset the expenses, a GoFundMe has been started by his mom, Julie. In less than 3 days, the campaign has raised around $100,000. If you would like to donate, go to www.gofundme.com and search Sorensen Strong, all one word. From there, you can donate as much as you'd like, either anonymously or under your name. Heading to hoops tonight, the Iowa basketball team will open up Big Ten play on the road against number 4 Michigan. Here's what some of the team had to say about what they expect to see from the Wolverines tonight.
A lot of returning guys that are, some of their core guys. Obviously, they lost a few to the NBA, but they got, Simpson, Teskey, Livers, those main guys that are really talented and are going to be tough to stop.
They've changed up a little bit, but they still have some of the same stuff. Like offensively, they do some of the same stuff that they did before. Obviously a lot of ball screen action. They've always done that because they know Xavier Simpson's really good off it, especially with Teskey. And defensively they do a little bit different things. They switch up defenses more so than they ever have. They were always just strictly a man team, so now they play a little bit of zone and different things like that. But they have a little different wrinkles and different stuff on offense. But we know when you're going against Michigan, you're going against a high-powered offense that's just as good on the defensive side of the ball, and that hasn't changed.
Iowa has been battling some injuries like Cordell Pemsel, but C.J. Frederick, who was injured against Syracuse, should be back for tonight's game. But just like that, John, that's all we have from me in the sports studio. Take us home.
3 Great Pyrenees puppies were found lost with their mother in the mountains of Utah. Kat Perry and Corey Holt were snowmobiling at the state's Monte Cristo Snowmobile Complex Sunday afternoon when they stumbled upon the pups and their mother 5 miles away from the nearest paved road, living in a sheep carcass. Rescuers believe that the mother had been protecting a herd of mountain sheep and walked off to give birth to her litter. The pups were taken down the mountain, but their mom refused to go with. She was then left behind with 20 pounds of dog food. Rescuers plan to go back up the mountain to see if they can get the mom to come down. That's all we have for you on this Friday morning edition of DITV News. Be sure to head over to dailyiowan.com for all your latest news between Monday and Friday. If that isn't enough of the Daily Iowan for you, be sure to check out our print edition of the news on stands now. For DITV News, I'm John Chenoweth. Have a great day, Iowa City.